The story of Resident Evil Revelations is a convoluted one, and that's down to how it's being told. The game has an episodic format.
Because it was released episodically.
Nope. As such, each episode ends with a shocking twist or cliffhanger which is shortly resolved at the start of the next episode. This works for weekly cable television, however, Resident Evil Revelations is anything but. Set before the events of Resident Evil 5, the story begins in 2004 during a Terra Grigia incident. A bioterrorist group, known as Veltro, unleashed POWs on the street of Terra Grigia, a floating acropolis built on the Mediterranean powered entirely by solar energy. A satellite called the Regia Solis directs the insurmountable power of the sun directly onto the city. The powers that be use the Regia Solis to melt Terra Grigia from space, quelling the bio threat. The year is now 2005. Mysterious carcasses are washing up on the shores and rumors suggest that Veltro have returned. The BSAA are called in to investigate, led by Clive R. O'Brien. Chris frickin' Redfield has gone missing, so O'Brien sends two agents, Jill and Parker, to investigate his last known whereabouts, a ship off the coast of the Mediterranean, the Queen Zenobia. This was a cruise ship designed to be reminiscent of ships from the 1930s. This had, however, been overrun by infected known as the Skag Dead. Fighting their way through, Jill and Parker find Chris tied up, but it's not Chris. It's a biologically accurate Chris doll. It was all a trap set up by Veltro. Cut to Chris frickin' Redfield trekking the Finnish wilderness, accompanied by his new partner Jessica, aka Ada Wong Light. Shit! They're on the hunt for Veltro when they come across a plane crash. They investigate further to find Valkonen Moki Airport nearby. But there's no time. O'Brien calls in to tell them now Jill and Parker have gone missing somewhere in the Mediterranean.
But don't they have their exact coordinates? O'Brien sent them there.
Chris leaves immediately to find them. We cut back to Jill, who's been locked in a room without her weapons. She escapes easily and reunites with Parker. They find their weapons and head to the bridge. Here they're ambushed by this guy, Raymond, an anime villain. We flash back to the Terra Grigia panic. Parker and Jessica were previously part of a different anti-bioterrorist organization known as the FBC, led by Morgan Lansdale, and Raymond was there too. A broadcast demonstrating the T-Avis virus, all but confirming that Veltro has returned.
Abandon hope, all ye who enter here.
Abandon hope? He's quoting Dante.
We're introduced to the best characters in the game, Keith Ladies Man Lumley and Quint Jackass Ketchum Tech Whiz. O'Brien sends his best two men who aren't busy to go investigate Valkonen Moki Airport.
I hate snow.
Snow hates you.
Back on the ship, Raymond starts helping and sends Jill and Parker to the bilge to do some repairs. This ends horribly with them accidentally flooding the place. Somehow, Keith and Quint locate the ship and Chris rushes in to save Jill and Parker from drowning. They make it to the bilge, but wait! They were on another ship, the Queen Semiramis. The Queen Zenobia's sister ship, which is also floating in the Mediterranean and also full of infected. Back on the Queen Zenobia, Jill and Parker escape effortlessly and regain communication with O'Brien. Bad news, the Regia Solis is targeting the Queen Zenobia. Panning around O'Brien's office, there's a copy of Dante's Divine Comedy. Jill and Parker ask him to get them out of there. His response?
Sorry, but I can't authorize that.
That's only because there's enough time to stage a rescue. With help from Quint, Jill and Parker launch a UAV that redirects the Regia Solis' blast. Jill and Parker are ambushed again by Velcro, who begins explaining his master plan with questions.
Consider this.
Transition.
First, why did it take till now to find the Queen Zenobia? How was it able to float around the Mediterranean undetected? Why did all traces of Veltro vanish after the Terra Grigia panic? Why is someone trying to use the Regia Solis to destroy the Zenobia?
Jessica shoots John Veltro before he can say anything, and it's revealed that it was Raymond all along, but there's simply no time. They swap partners. Parker and Jessica try to stop the ship from sinking, while Jill and Chris neutralize the T-Abyss virus. Okay, and now is the time for the revelations. So Keith and Quint find out that Veltro actually hadn't returned, and it was all smoke and mirrors conducted by the head of the BSAA, Clive R. O'Brien. O'Brien suspects that Lansdale orchestrated the Terra Grigia panic, giving the T-Abyss virus to Veltro and then wiping them out to keep them quiet. So O'Brien sent Jill and Parker to the Queen Zenobia and knew everything from the start, but just couldn't prove it. He suspected there to be a mole in the BSAA. This mole was Jessica, who's still working for the FBC. Lansdale caused the Terra Grigia panic to remind the world of the threat POWs are, and that's it.
Abandon hope, all ye who enter here.
He just quoted Dante! Okay, we good? Great? Good? Cool. So Lansdale monologues as Chris and Jill destroy the T-Abyss virus. Parker confronts Jessica, who's about to self-destruct the Queen Zenobia. Raymond shows up alive and well because he was wearing a bulletproof vest. Jessica shoots at Raymond, again knowing he has a bulletproof vest, and Parker jumps in front of Raymond knowing he has a bulletproof vest. Jessica hits the self-destruct button and leaves somehow. The ship explodes and kills everyone. Nope, that was the Queen's
Semiramis.
fake out again. Chris and Jill try to escape the sinking ship where they find not dead but wounded Parker. They help him out, but ultimately Sekiro Parker dies twice. Chris and Jill get to the chopper when all of a sudden a giant sea blob monster turns up. There's some Resident Evil Survivor fan service. We flash back one more time to the Terra Grigia panic when Parker saved Raymond, so jumping back, Parker actually survived and Raymond saves him this time. Both make it off the ship somehow. With all this being done, O'Brien remembers that there's a third sister ship, the Queen Dido, that was destroyed during the Terra Grigia panic. This might have some crucial evidence which could bring down Lansdale. Meanwhile, Lansdale just walks into the BSAA headquarters and puts O'Brien under arrest. On the Queen Dido, Chris and Jill find a leader of Hook and Loop not spawn, Jack Norman, who was still alive. He explodes into a Resident Evil boss, but eventually Chris and Jill upload the evidence. Now O'Brien is the one who puts Lansdale under arrest. And all's well that ends well. There's a Where Are They Now montage that I'm gonna play in its entirety. One final twist, Jessica and Raymond were actually working together all along. Cool? Well, that was Resident Evil Revelations, primetime television compressed onto a 3DS cartridge. Honestly, I think it handles this many characters and perspectives better than Resident Evil 6. It introduced a bunch of new things that never went anywhere, and overall, I don't fully understand it, so there's that. Bye!
What the?
So what the hell did you do?
I didn't do anything.